Hi guys. So I decided then, if you watched my last video about how I tidied up my beading space, I said about making a beginner's bracelet. So this is the one I've chose for you. We're going to be making, not in this colour, but in the same style. And this is my version of a tennis bracelet. And as you can see, it's right angle weave. So today, if you've never beaded before, you're going to learn right angle weave. And all right angle weave is, you see these squares or boxes of beads. That is what's known as right angle weave. So if we look at it, I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer just so you can see the beads. Okay. So the boxes or squares of beads, and that's what right angle weave is all about, is making squares or boxes, whichever word you want to look at. And for this particular right angle weave, we're going to be making squares of 16 beads. Now if you look at the beads there, you can see that there's one way of looking at it is a floor, a wall, a ceiling and a floor, or just a square. I don't like to confuse things and complicate things, so to me it's a square, and a square has 4 sides. So in this one then it's sides of 4 beads. 4 here, 4 here, 4 here and 4 here. So going on to the next one then, if we cross off this one, we can see that we've already got one side of the square or one side of the box. So we only need to add another 3, don't we? So we add one side and one side. And that's a total of 12 beads. And so we go on to again. So we've already got that again. It's another 12 beads. So this is what we're going to be making today. Okay. Let's get on to the material list then. For today's project, we're going to be needing some size 11 seed beads. I'm using purple. And I'm going to be needing another tone of 11 seed beads. Again, I'm using shades of purple. You can use whatever colour that you want. If you want to keep the same colour beads, then of course you can. But today for me, I'm using 2 different colours of purple. And obviously for the beads to go across the top, I am using Rhondells. These are 4 by 6 Rhondells, but you can use 6mm round beads as well. But for me today, I'm using 4 by 6mm Rhondell beads. You're also going to be needing a clasp. Now, to keep things simple, I don't know what stock you have in your beading stash, so I'm going to keep it really simple and just use 2 jump rings in a gunmetal colour, but you can use what other colour you have. And I'm using a gunmetal lobster clasp. Also for today's project, you're going to need a needle. I'm using a size 10 needle. You can also use a size 12, I'm using a size 10, and you're going to need some thread. You can either use 1G thread or Fireline. And today I am going to be using Fireline, £6 Fireline in black, or smoke as they call it. Okay, and you will find if you do use the Fireline that the smoke colour does come off on your fingers. It's just the nature of the thread. Well, it's a fishing line at the end of the day. So it's the nature of the thread. And you're going to be needing 2 arm spans of your chosen thread. And by arm spans, for anybody who's new, it is stretching your fingers out, your arms out, as wide as they'll go, as if you're going to hug the most wonderful person in the whole wide world. And spreading your thread from one fingertip right across your chest to the other fingertip, and you need to do that twice. So that's my 2 arm spans. Okay, so, oh yeah, and you'll also be needing a set of pliers so we can open and close our jump rings for our clasp. If you if you're that new, you do not have any pliers, maybe ask your husband if you can borrow his. It's not ideal, as pliers that people use for other than jewellery tend to have ridges down the inside of the pliers, and they mark your wire, so you don't really want to be using those. So if you are going to take up the hobby, get yourself a set of jewellery pliers. So you'll be needing those. Right, get your supplies together and then we'll start the project. Just a tip as well, guys, when you are threading your thread for your needle, if you give the end a squeeze with your jewellery pliers, that flattens down the thread, and this also works for 1G thread as well as Fireline, and then that will help you go through the eye of your needle so much better. You see that straight through. Yep, so that's straight through. So I'm just going to, there you go. So if you take your thread to almost down the end, leaving about an 18-inch to work with, then you're not pulling so much thread through. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way, and we're going to be making the base. So I'm going to be using my base colour, my purple. So as I said then, we're going to be making the first box of our right angle weave, and in our first box we need to be picking up 16 beads. So I like to do mine counting out 4s so I don't go wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we should have 16 beads on our thread. So what we're going to do with those 16 beads is we're going to pull them down our working thread, leaving about a 6 to 8 inch tail. Now I like to leave a tail so then I can sew in after and do some half hitch knots. So I brought them down then. This is my tail thread. This is my, can't get hold of it, my working thread that's attached to my needle. So with that thread I am going to work my needle back through those 16 seed beads and pull. And straight away I get myself knotted. I'm just going to undo this, guys, and I'll be back. And I'm back. Don't know quite what happened, but I managed to get the thread out, and I've ran the thread through my fingers a few times just to warm it up a bit. So let's hope it doesn't happen again, but that's the risky run using thread. Anyway, so here's my tail thread and here's my working thread with my needle attached. So we're going to go through the next 4 beads past our tail thread. Okay. Let me just take you out a little bit. There you go. Holding our thumb and finger over our work, that gives us our side, and we need to come 4 across the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 across the top. Again, holding our thumb and finger over our work. Okay, so now we have our first box. Okay, it's not particularly square at the moment. It's a bit roundy, but it does square off as we do our project. So we need to make the next box or square in our project to make our project grow the length of the bracelet that we need. So we need to add, remember we had 16 beads on our first square because we were making all 4 sides. To grow our right angle weave, we only need to add 3 sides. So the 3 sides of 4 beads is 12. So let's count together then. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one side. Them down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which be that side. And then the last 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which will be that side. And all we do is go through the top 4 beads of the previous box, pulling our work through, keeping our thumb and finger over the top, and we have that. Looks like little angel wings or little butterfly wings. So to get into position then, to add our next 3 sides of our right angle weave, we need to go up 4 beads, and then across the top 4 beads, keeping our thumb and finger over the top. This Fireline wants to knot up on me today. So there we go, we're ready to start our next set. So we need 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, to go down that side of our square. 1, 2, 3, 4, to make the top of our square, and another 4 to join down here. So to finish off, we go through the last 4 beads of the previous square, pulling our work through. There we have another one. So what do we have to do? I like to flip my work over, so I'm right-handed and I like to work this way. So I've just flipped my work over and I'm going to go up 4 beads, and I'm going to go across the top 4 beads, and that gives us another square. Okay, I know it doesn't look much like squares, but bear with me, it will. So carrying on then, I think you've got the hang now. We're going to pick up 4 beads for the side, another 4 beads for the top, and another 4 beads to join. Okay, so coming round the last 4 beads, keeping our thumb and finger over the work, pulling our thread through, try saying that, gives us this. I'm going to flip my beads over, go up 4 beads, pull my thread through, go across 4 beads, pulling the thread through, and that gives us another box. Okay, so I'll do another one with you and then we'll go to length. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, coming across the top 4 of our last box or our last square, putting our thumb and finger firmly over the top, pulling our thread through, flipping our work over, or you don't have to if you don't want to, going up the next 4 beads, going across the top 4 beads, pulling our thread through, trying not to get any knots, and there we are in position to keep on going. Now I'm making a 7-inch bracelet today, guys, so for a 7-inch bracelet you will need 21 of these right angle weave boxes. Okay, we've got 5 at the moment, so if you want to make a smaller one, then take a box off. If you want to make a bigger one, add a box on, or you can put an extender chain on if you've got a bit of chain. And I could show you actually how to do that, but we will see how the video runs. So if you need more help, rewind the video and keep on going. Failing that, I'll make the last box with you, which for me will be box 21. So catch it on box 21. Welcome back then. So you should have 20 little boxes by now, and we're just going to finish the last one then now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the final 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so we're coming round, aren't we, on our top 4 beads. Pulling our work through, turning our work over, what I do, up 4 and across 4. Okay. Right, so now what we're going to do is bring our other seed beads into play. Now, don't worry if you're not, I'm just going to get rid of these ones. If you're not using a second colour, that's absolutely fine. You will just carry on with the same colour as you were using, but I am going to be using a second colour. Okay, so here's my second colour then. Drop those onto my beadboard. And this is where the second colour comes into play then, guys. So what we're going to do is, working our way down the side of the bracelet, you're coming out of the top of your beads, pick up a contrast or the same colour and go in between those 4 beads. Okay, so it's putting a contrasting colour bead in the corner of our work. Okay, and this will cinch the bracelet up as well. Picking up, let me bring you in a little bit just in case you're struggling to see. Okay, so picking up a size 11, coming between where our thread's exiting the 4 beads of this box, we're going to go down the 4 beads of the next box, just putting in our 11-0 in between, placing our thumb and finger over the top of our work, pulling our thread through, and that 11-0 will just pop into place. And don't worry, we're going to come up the other side in a second. Okay, so picking up our 11 and popping it in to the space in between the boxes. Can you see? So there's our box and there's our new box, and we've got a little space here, haven't we? So picking up the 11, putting our needle through the next 4 beads of the next box, putting our finger and thumb over the top of our work, pulling our thread through, and it pops into place. Okay, and we're just going to keep on doing that down the length of our bracelet. Okay. Got myself all tucked. There we are. Okay, it pops into place. Picking up an 11 then, going down our 4 beads, and pulling our work through. Picking up an 11, popping it into place. Okay. Putting on our 11, picking up our 4 beads and popping it into place. Okay, and like I say, this cinches up the bracelet as well, and don't worry, we're going to do the other side. So keep doing that all the way down to the bottom, and I'll meet you back at the bottom. So you've gone all the way down one side then, guys. All we're going to do, we've come to the end near our tail. Our tail's there. We're just going to carry on picking up our 11-0, going through the 4 beads, putting our thread through. Just while we're there, making sure that it sits properly. There we go. Picking up another 11-0, going down, starting to go down this side, straighten it out in the corner, make it lie right how you want it to lie, and carry on putting our 11-0s in between the boxes, and I'll meet you back at the other end, and it should be looking something like this. Okay, see you in a minute. Just a little tip for you guys, when you're putting on, especially if you're new, when you're putting your bead in between like this, okay, if your work starts to look a bit out of whack, just run your fingers over the top of your beadwork and it'll all straighten back out again, see? So I'm just thinking, just in case, let me just widen you out a bit. Any real newbies were worried about what was going on. Okay, so carry on and I'll see you at the end here. Okay, so we're at the end of the bracelet then, and we're just going to pop our last one in. So putting it into the corner, going through the 4 beads. Don't go through the accent bead in the corner, or the very one in the corner, don't go through that one. So just add in your last one then. There we go, and pop that into place. Right, now we're going to attempt to add a clasp, make a clasp to go on the end. And I'm going to do it as if you look at this bracelet, I've put wire guardians on. Now, if you've got wire guardians, then go ahead and put them on. You'll want to put on 4 size 11 seed beads first, and then go through your wire guardian, another 4, and come on the other side and go through your beadwork and reinforce at least 3 times. Okay, but I do understand that some people probably won't have, especially if you're new, you won't have any wire guardians. If it is that you're new, get yourself a list together and put things like wire guardians on your list. You can get them quite cheaply off eBay and the like. I know Spoilt Rotten Beads sell them, GJ beads sell them, CJ beads. There's lots of stores that will sell the wire guardians. If you can't find it on your bead store, then go on to eBay. Okay, so put that on your list. So I'm going to make it as if we hadn't got any wire guardians. So we're going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be 4 going up, 1 for the middle to come back through, and another, let's have a look at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 7, 5, 6, 7. Let me just have a look at 7. Down to your work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going through the 5th. Just want to have a look at the circle. I'll double check with you in a minute. Yes, okay, so I'm happy with that. Right, so we want to pick up 5 beads and then a further 7, so that's 12 beads. 12, so put 12 size 11C beads onto your needle, and once you've got 12 on, then count up from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and come back through that thread, come back through the 5th bead. Let me just bring in so you can have a closer look. So come in the 5th bead there, lie that flat. Can you see? So there's our 4 beads down here. Our 5th bead is the bead that we're going to make our loop, and then 7 beads at the top for our circle. Yeah. Okay. And then come through the 5th bead and pick up another 4 beads. 3, 4, and come through the top 4 beads. Okay, and pull our thread through, and it will give us this. Just realign as you need to. Okay, so we're going to reinforce this now by going up through the 5th bead. There's the one in the middle. Oh, lose your work. Which side to come up now? That side. So turn it back that way. Okay. Come round those 7 beads that are making your loop. Don't worry if you can't get through them all at the same time. Come through the 5th bead and there we go. Okay, so we're making our we need to reinforce that again. Just going to go out a little bit. There we are. So I just need to reinforce that again. So through the 4 beads, the start of our bracelet. Oop. Pull the thread through. I need to extend my tail now. That's it. Okay. And then reinforce by going up the 4 fourth and the fifth bead in the centre. It's getting tight now, so this will have to do the last go. And then through the 7 beads. Through the one in the middle and down the end to the top of our bracelet. Okay, so that's making right. Okay, so now we're going to make the top of our bracelet. Now we're going to make this bit, the pretty bit. So we need to add on to our bead mat then our rondelles or our 6mm round beads or whatever bead it is that you're using to embellish the top. Right, remember the bead in the corner? Now we need to go through that bead. Okay. Right. Picking up a size 11 C bead, picking up a 4x6 rondelle and picking up a C bead. We need to go from one corner over to the other corner. Okay, let me just zoom in a little bit for you. Zoom, 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 zoom. So we have a C bead, rondelle, a C bead on our needle. Here's our first box. Our thread is exiting over in this corner and we're just going to go over to the next corner, going through the accent bead or the bead, the last bead that we placed on our bracelets, and pull our thread through, and that will give us our little bead on the top. Okay, so again we're going to pick up a C bead, a rondelle and a C bead, and again we're going to go from this corner over to this corner. So making sure that it sits nicely. Oh, it's gone wrong. Oh, that's quite a nice design actually, going that way to that way. But I will correct it because it's wrong. So backing out of there then. I won't edit it out, I will show you what to do if that does happen. Run your needle back through the beads that we just put on and take them off. Just want to my thread a bit. There we are. Right, okay. Easy mistaker to maker. So we want all the beads to lie the same way. So what I need to do is, I've gone through there, now I need to go across the 4 beads. And then go through the corner bead. Right, now I can pick up my C bead to have that on my needle, and I'm going to go from that direction to that direction. So from that corner to that corner, put my needle through. Okay, and I need to get over to this corner, so I'm going to run my needle and thread through those top 4 beads, pulling my thread tight, going through the C bead, picking up a C bead, a rondelle and a C bead, and going over to the next corner on the diagonal. See? I think bigger beads might have been suited more to these myself. Let's just have a look. 68 mil. What have I got? Maybe 10s, 6x8 blacks. Let's just have a look. So design as we're going along. Must be the size of my sea beads. Go over to the next corner. Get a knot in our thread. Just pull up the thread straight. Right, okay, let's just give this a go, guys. I think my beads are quite large for the 4.6, so I'm going to have a look to see what happens if I put the 6B8 on. Ah yes, that fits much better, look. Much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo mine. By taking the needle off my thread. And if you find the same thing happens to you, don't be afraid to take your beads off. This is what happens, especially when you're designing. I haven't made this bracelet for quite a long time. So I will pause you guys because you don't want to see me taking beads off. I will pause you and come back. Right, so I've got myself sorted out and I've gone on to 6B8 mil Rhondells, and if you happen to fall against the same problem, then do the same, just go up a size bead. I think it's got something to do with the sea beads. Now I know that Toho and Miyuki are different. They both 11 sea beads, but one of them's bigger than the other, and I can't for the life of me remember which way round it is. So I reckon this is what's happened to me here. I have the bigger beads, and I think it's Toho. I'm not sure, is it Miyuki? Miyuki, I think, are the bigger beads. Anyway, here we go. Let's carry on then. So, sea bead, Rhondell sea bead, coming down across diagonally the corner, bringing our beads into place, pulling them nice and tight, passing our working thread through the beads, the 4 beads underneath. There we are. Go through the corner sea bead, pull our thread through, and on to the next one then. So sea bead, Rhondell, sea bead, onto the next corner, pulling our thread through, there we go, 3 on so far. So you know how to do this, guys. We need to go across the 4 beads at the bottom, pick up a sea bead, Rhondell, sea bead, going across diagonally, picking up the sea bead in the corner, pull it through, placing our beads on top, go across the bottom 4 beads, If you find that your needles, because we're using a size 10, if you're finding it's struggling to get through, you can change it down to a size 12, if that helps you. Okay, pulling it snug, and this is what we have so far. So as you're going along, just make sure that your beads are positioned. Give the one below a tug, and then below a tug, and you'll be surprised how much thread. That's not all come from there. That's come from your working thread. There we go. Okay, so work the embellishment on the top, and I'll meet you at the bottom where we're going to finish off our bracelet today. Okay, see you in a minute. There we are then, guys. Come to the end. So what do we need to do now? I'm just going to widen you out a little bit. Oh, too far. What we need to do now then is put the other end of our clasp on. So if you remember, we put on 4 beads and then a central bead to work our way back through, 7 beads, come through the centre, 5th bead and down the other side. So in total then we need to pick up 5 and 7, which is 12. So 12 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Drop these beads down. Come back through the 5th bead, so count up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's the 5th. Come through the 5th bead. Pick up another 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then come through those bottom beads across the bottom. It. Pull our thread through and straighten our work out. Give it a good sort. Position everything correctly. Righty ho, and then let's reinforce. So going back up the 4 and 5th bead in the centre, working our way around the 7 beads for our loop. Back through and down the other side. Can't get my needle in. There we go. Sort out what's going on. Back through our 4 beads, and reinforce again, guys. So again up through 4th and the 5th bead, and then get through some of those beads for the loop. Using my glasses, bring it in a little bit just so you can see. So we're just reinforcing our loop. come through, loop, and down the other beads. Okay, and that's what you should have. So now it's time to reinforce then our work, guys. So we've got all this thread, and what we need to do, because if you're giving these as gifts, you don't want them coming back being broken and them saying, oh, that bracelet such and such made for me, oh, it broke, what a load of rubbish and all this. Or you're selling your beads, you don't want to be selling inferior work. So it's time to reinforce. So what I want you to do is go all the way back through your beadwork, reinforcing your beads as you go. So back through. And this also tightens up your work as you go. You may want to change to a size 12 beading needle, or you may want to persevere with what you have. Once you've reinforced, guys, come back to me and then I'll show you what's next. Keep going. Got my tail. That's it. So I'll meet you back at the other end. Okay guys, we're on the final stretch now. And so what we're going to do now is tie off our thread. So we've just come out of this bead, we need to go through these beads and we need to go down the other side again now. So we're going to learn how to do some half hitch knots. We want to get away from here and we need to come down the side. So working our way through the beads. So come down. Couple of beads. Need to get past that because that's a central bead. Just need to come down into the second box. So everything's getting nice and tight now. Okay. So through 2 beads then, the centre 2 beads, or whichever bead you come out of. Right. To tie a half hitch knot, we need to get in between them beads there. Pull our thread into a loop, come through the loop, making sure that the knot goes between the beads. Okay, there's our first half hitch knot. Okay, so we need to get back in these beads. And I think, isn't it always the same? Come on, darn you. There we are. Oh, let it come out. Okay. Get back into the bracelet, whichever way you can. Well, I'll be darned it. Let's see if I can fold it over and get in somehow. Wrap it over my finger. I can't believe this. These are the things that you'll come against, and as a newbie it's very frustrating. There we are, that's it. Okay, and through some more beads. And again, we want to, our needle in between the beads and the thread, pulling down till we've got a little loop, through the loop with our needle, pulling the thread tight, and that'll pop in between. Okay, and doing that again then, travelling down. Oh, I've gone down, that doesn't matter. Come down here now, putting our thread needle between the beads, catching the thread, bringing down to make a small loop, passing our needle through the loop and popping the knot between the beads. Okay, let's do that again. Oh. There we are then. Last time, through the threads, pull down to a loop, put our needle through, pull it in the loop. Wow. Taking our needle through and through some more beads. And what I like to do is, you'll need some sharp scissors, cut off your thread leaving a small tail, and then with a lighter going down, it puts a little ball on, and that's it, gone. You will take your needle off, put it on, let's widen out a little bit, put it on on your other side and tie off again half hitch knots down this side of your bracelet. Attach our clasp, and how we do that is very easily. We pick up our pliers, and I've just threaded on the lobster claw onto a jump ring. It's already open. Put it through. Wow. That's how not to do it, guys. Let's open this up a bit more. Let's jump ring up. And when you're opening jump rings, you always open north to south. Okay? Not east to west. You don't pull them open that way. You twist them that way. Okay? Let's try it this way. So we're going to put the jump ring through our circle of beads, add the lobster clasp, okay, and then close our loop. Okay, so that's one side done. So let's do the other side. So again, opening our jump ring from north to south. Okay. Popping it through the ring of beads that we made, and then simply closing it. There we go. And that, guys, is our bracelet made. If you wanted to make it small, let's have a look what it looks like on the wrist. If you want to make it smaller, wow. Look at that. I'm just going to come off a bit. Wow. Beautiful. It's so sparkly. Imagine, oh, it's gorgeous. So a little idea for you for Christmas gifts. If you're a bit unsure about somebody's size, you could put, if you've got some chain, you could put some extender chain onto the ends of that, or spare jump rings, add jump rings, and then the lobster clasp, or just there we go. I really hope that you've enjoyed making your first bracelet with me. Give me a thumbs up, it'd be nice. Let's see those thumbs. A nice thumbs up would be nice. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. I know this has been a bit haphazard. It's been my very first beading tutorial. We messed up a little bit on the beads, but the end product is gorgeous. So if you've enjoyed making Janie's Slinky tennis style bracelet, then please leave a comment. I'd like to hear from you. I'd love to see some pictures. Come see me on Facebook. And yeah, keep on beading, guys. And I'll think about making another beading tutorial for you. So, see you on the next one. Thumbs up. Let's see them thumbs. Thumbs, thumbs, thumbs. Bye then, guys.